sin. And he kept speaking out, but nobody was listening to him. And that was where I felt really guilty. For me as a mother, I felt like, oh my God, because I know, go through, you know. So I'm like, we all need to just come out and make sure, because one thing that got my attention was the fact that he had filed a petition and his petition was not looked into. Why was his petition not looked into? We needed to get facts. I was shocked at the way he was quickly buried and at the manner at which he was buried. Do you understand? So everything just seemed so unclear. And I don't know, I don't think I was the only one who felt that way. His spirit was not resting, you know, and everybody was almost like being tormented, you know, by his spirit. And everybody was, you know, there was so much going on. And I just felt like, you know what, let me use my foundation. Because, I mean, when he died, I was in America. When he died, I was in New York. And when I heard about it, I was like on my way back to Nigeria. I think I got back to Nigeria like 2 days or 3 days after, and I had to fly down to Abuja. So while all that was going on, I kept checking on to see what was the next move, what were they saying, what are people doing, what's happening, because we can't have all these allegations put out there, this evidence put out there, and then there's no positive response to it. And social media is there to create awareness, but that does not enforce the law. You need to do the proper things to be able to enforce the law. You need to make complaints. You need to do certain things to enforce the law. And I was waiting on that to see if anybody was going to take that step. And so when I saw that it wasn't happening, I just felt like, okay, you know what, Iyabo? I knew it was not going to be easy. I knew I was going to come under such attacks. Do you understand? Because I knew that there was a lot of situations going on my own part. I had the Baba Ijesha saga, where a lot of people still hold me responsible for having to find justice for a girl child that was molested, right? I knew I had the political angle of it, where I decided to follow my heart and support LP, and I knew a lot of APC people were angry with me, but I had to put all that aside, because we're talking about a child. We're talking about a young boy whose life was cut short. We're talking about a boy who went through so much, and everyone kind of neglected, or we're not listening to him. Because why? The same person he was pointing fingers on was our celebrity, our favorite. You know, so for me, I just felt like, you know what, Iyabo, I knew a lot was going to go down, but I was like, you know what, let me use my voice and use my foundation, you know, to seek justice for this boy, justice for MOHBAD. Most times our laws in this country don't work, but they don't work because we do not collectively join hands to enforce it. We always look away. It's not my own, it's not my business. And that's why we are where we are today in Nigeria. Because we will always look away. It's not my problem. I don't want to get involved. And look at Black Lives Matters when it happened in America. You can see the way they trooped out. They came out and they stood. They stood with one voice and fought. And he got justice. So but in Nigeria, it's always a sorry case, because it's either somebody that you have personal issues with will come up and say, you know what, I want to counter her. I want to counter him. Just because, forgetting that there's a purpose. And this will bring me back to the matter of Gistlover. Gistlover wrote something about one of my friends then, you know, and I slid into Gistlover's DM. And I said, this thing you wrote about this person, I don't think it's true, you know. And just like, you're always defending your own friend, it's true, the information. I said, okay. But if this is what you believe, you know what? I'm not happy with this, and that's it. Do you understand? Because I know my friend, and I felt like this did not happen, right? And Gistlover was like, please, I don't like you coming here every time to be telling me what is true or what is not true, blah, 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 blah. And okay, fine. Few weeks or months later, Gistlover was coming for a said pastor, and my name got involved in that, because obviously the rumors has always been going on. And then there was this particular article or story that a fake page opened and wrote some certain rubbish about me, like the pastor bringing a prostitute to my own home, and me, the prostitute, I was afraid to do a threesome, and I said, don't worry, even if he wants to do a threesome with my daughter, you know, I wouldn't mind. I don't know. Do you understand? And back then, when we tracked that fake page, we found out that it was a fake page. We even had to track the picture of the lady that was used to find out that she didn't even know anything about it. She was not part of it. So somebody somewhere just got a fake page, put out a stupid post. Do you understand? And this happened many years ago. Now, fast forward to, was it last year or 2 years ago, when Gistlover brought up that article and posted it, and I saw people rushing down to my page and saying a whole lot of rubbish. Do you understand? And I was really angry with Gistlover. At that time, I was like, but I didn't say anything, because, you know, sometimes there are some things you just leave aside, not because you don't want to talk, but because you just feel like this is it. Now, when Princess was having, I think she was interviewing one of my colleagues in the English industry, and someone called my attention to it, and I called Princess, and I'm like, Princess, why is my name coming up in this interview? I don't want to have anything to do with this, you know. And I think at the time when I called her, I didn't even know whether she was live or doing anything. I just called her, right? So I think Gistlover found out about it. She told Gistlover that, oh, she's speaking to Iyabo, and then Gistlover came again, you know, blah, 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 blah. It's not today that Gistlover has been writing anything about me or putting anything about me out there to get me pissed off, or, you know, whatever information they gave to him or her, right? But I am a very practical person. And if my worst enemy, let me use that word today, is fighting a cause that is right, I will join hands to fight that cause. Because I am an activist. And as an activist, I would always put my differences aside to fight for a cause that is true. I would always do that. Politics happened. I think there was an article or a post that she put, Gistlover put out there, that one of my colleagues also in the Yoruba industry said they were going to come for me during the political saga time. And when I saw that post, I put it on my, I think I got that information even from my colleague. That my said colleague that was put out there was the one that even called me to say, I didn't say this, I didn't do this, I don't know where Gistlover got this information from, blah, 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 blah. And so when I didn't do this, I don't. So when I went there and I saw it, immediately I posted it on my page, and I was like, I came for Gistlover and I came for that my said colleague, and I said, look, you guys come for me, I'll come for you, but I don't have time for rubbish. And Gistlover came also in my DM and told me, why am I, what is going on between, what kind of game is me and my colleague trying to play? I said, I don't understand what kind of game is me and my colleague trying to play. You put something out there and my colleague is telling me that she never wrote this. So where did you get this information from? What is going on? And then he was like, no, she put it out there. And then Gistlover sent me like the number and everything. And we checked out that number and found out that it was for that my said colleague. Right? And I called my said colleague and I said, why did you do this? This number is for, she said, oh, she was not the one that did. She doesn't even know how they did it. Maybe they cloned that number, blah, blah, blah. You know, long story short, that was how Gistlover and I started speaking again. That doesn't mean I was happy with Gistlover, with what Gistlover had initially written about me, but I just put it aside and I moved on from there. Do you understand? And then when this case happened, and Gistlover sent me to my DM, like, there's this boy called DJ Splash, you know, needs somebody to please help check the boy out, you know, this and that. And I was like, okay, what is this boy's story? And I went on Gistlover's page, I watched the mother's video. Do you understand? And I think that everything just like, you know, everything just added up, like, what is going on in this industry? What is happening in this industry? Because this is a said person that I myself, do you understand, have once or twice sent boys to him, like, you know, because I do a lot of TikTok videos promoting music through my TikTok craft. A lot of all these upcoming artists, even as I'm talking to you right now, I have 4 promising videos that I have promised I was going to shoot with my TikTok. Do you understand? So I always get them in my DMs, on my WhatsApp, those who are privileged to have my number. And I'm like, okay, I send messages randomly to all the producers, musicians that I know. And most times though I have never in my life seen Naira Marley, you know, one-on-one, say hello, hi, apart from me going to his shows before, me being at a show and probably he's performing, but we've never stood one-on-one to say hello. But in my DMs, I sent him messages and he responded. And he started responding when I also TikToked one of his songs that he did. Do you understand? He sent me a message to say thank you in my DM, and I was like, oh, no problem, it's fine, which they all do, all of them, Tiwa Savage, everyone, any one of them. Kiss Daniel, I do their videos. Most times when they see it, they send me a DM to say, you know, a DM message to say thank you. Most of them, sometimes I don't have their personal numbers. Do you understand? Except very few ones I do have their personal numbers, so they appreciate. Do you understand? If you guys remembered when my mother died, I think Tiwa Savage was the first person that even sent me 500k then. Do you understand? And it was because most times I always promote her song. You know, I love her and I love her song. So I had that kind of cordial relationship with them. If we see her side, hello, hi, hi, hi. So I always know, most times I send, oh, someone wants to, there's this boy, he has a song. I sent to him, I sent to Don Jazzy, you know, I sent to some other, I can't remember names now. I sent to them. And they will say, okay, some of them will respond. Don Jazzy responds to, sometimes will tell me, oh, yes. Sometimes they will say, oh, no. So he will say, sometimes he will say, oh, no. Sometimes he will say, oh, yes. And when he said, oh, yes, to one of them, I sent the boy there, which is Fabims, right? Fabims went there, and probably like a year or two later, he told me that he has left. I was even so angry with the boy. I said, you guys are not patient. Now, why are you leaving? You should stay, you know, blah, blah, blah. Do this. It's good. You have to be patient, you know, with music. I didn't know what was going on because he didn't actually tell me exactly what was going on. He just said, Mama, I will come and see you and I will explain. I said, okay, no problem, anytime you're ready. And I moved on from there. You know, so, you know, when all this stories started flying up and down, all these videos were coming out, I just felt like, oh my goodness. I quickly called the Fabims. Are you okay? He said he's okay. Are you sure? He said yes, he's sure. Or what is going on? Do you understand? On the close